Hi there. In today's video, I'm going to let ChatGPT speak. So previously, I have created this ChatGPT clone called ChatWTF, which I can use just like ChatGPT. But what I want to do is I want to be able to say something and then ChatGPT should respond with a voice. And to do this, I'm going to use the ElevenLabs API. Now, ChatWTF uses PHP, but there is only a Python library, as far as I can tell, for ElevenLabs. Now, of course, they have the HTTP API, so we could implement that for PHP. But what I think I will do at first is I will just create a Python script that will read some text from a file and then convert it into audio. And then I can just call that from my PHP script. So let's do that. Let me copy first my API key from here. And let's create that Python script somewhere in our project. I am going to create a folder called speech. And let's create a file here called generate.py. And I am going to have to import, in fact, I will say from ElevenLabs, import set API key and save and generate. And I'm going to do with open input file in read mode. I'm going to say that the input text will be, I have to say as f.read. And then I'm going to say that the input file will be sys.argv1. This should be the first command line argument. So I'm going to say import sys. And then I'm going to say audio is generate, and I'm going to pass in the input text. And then I'm going to do save audio as, let's do output file. And let's do that as the second command line argument. So let's do output file is sys.argv2. And I guess we should do get one. Is this how it works? Get two. And then if not input file, then we are going to print error, no input file provided. And we are going to do the same thing with the output file. If no output file is provided, then we are going to say error, no output file provided. And I guess we could do like usage will be generate.py and input file, output file. And let's do. So if I am not mistaken, that should already work. So let me create a new terminal here and let's cd into speech and let's do generate. Actually, I have to do chmod plus x generate. And I have to add here a hashbang user env Python. How does this work? Python 3. User bin env Python 3. I think that's how it works. And then I can do, actually I have to create the file first. So let's do text.txt. And let's say, hello, this is just a test. And I'm going to generate it. But do I have to pass in something else? Actually, this wants the text and the API key. Oh yeah, I should set the API key. So they actually have this set API key function that I can use. So I can say set API key, and I can paste in here that API key that I copied, but already copied something else. So let me copy this and let's put it here. Now, in fact, what I will do is I will say os.getEnv ElevenLabs API key. And I'm going to import OS and I'm going to export ElevenLabs API key as this. So then it's going to be hidden and that should work. So let's run this. Generate, it should give me an error, but list has no attribute get. Damn it. And we're going to do something else. We are going to do this. We are going to move our errors up here, and if the length of the sysargv is less than 2, then we don't have input file, and if it's less than 3, we don't have an output file. Does that make sense? I guess so. So of course we have to sys exit with 1. And if we now run it, then we get an error. And if we say test.txt, we say no output file. And if we say test.txt and test.wave, and we do that, then we're going to do something. And we have a wave file, which we can play. If I have enough volume, then you can hear it.
Hello, this is just a test.
Okay, so now we are able to create audio with Python. So let's integrate this into ChatWTF. Now, how am I going to integrate this? I'm not quite sure. So currently, we are sending the message to message.php, which will then stream out the response as text. Now, the greatest thing would be that if we could stream the audio at the same time as it is generating it. But perhaps we could do this first. We could create an endpoint in our application that converts text into audio. And then we could first stream the text response and then send it to that API and then play that. Or perhaps we could take a part of a few sentences if it's a long response and then send and then wait for that to end and then send the next one. Something like this. So let's do that. So I'm still using just file-based routing here. So all my files are here. Perhaps I should move to some sort of a router at some point, but at the moment I am going to create a new file here. If I know how to use VS Code, so I'm going to just go here and I'm going to code text to audio.php. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to call my speech Python script. So I'm going to say, first of all, that the text is going to be post text. And perhaps we should do if post text is not set, then we are going to die with an error. Let's do JSON this time. Let's do JSON encode, and let's say that the status is error and the response is no text provided. And let's make this a header content type application JSON. And I guess we should make a char set UTF-8. And then we have the text. So what should we do next? Then we have to just execute something. And we are going to execute Python 3 from, let's do escape shell argument. And we are going to say speech script. And let's do speech script is going to be from this current directory /speech/generate.py. And then we are going to also add a space, and we are going to add escape shell argument, and we are going to add, actually we are not going to do this, we are just going to hard code a file. So let's call this input.txt, and let's call the output output.txt. Now maybe we should rename it for every request, so that if there's multiple requests at the same time, it doesn't screw something up. But for now, we will just do. And then, of course, we have to write into that file. So let's do file put contents into input.txt. And of course, this is not text, this is wave, output.wave. And we're going to write the text. And we might as well trim the text. And in fact, I'm going to do input file is, let's do like input and py.txt. And let's do output file is output.time.txt. Well, perhaps time, if you do it at the same second, then it's going to be the same. So let's do unique ID and let's add more entropy true. And then we can pass that in here. So this is going to be escape shell argument input file. And this is going to be escape shell argument output file. And then we are of course going to do unlink input file, and well, we can't unlink output file, because we need to use it, unless we read it. So we might actually, do we want to respond with the URL to the, or the path to the file, or do we just respond with the audio? Let's respond with the audio. So I can't respond with JSON then. So I will respond with JSON only in this case. But down here, I'm going to say the header, content type, audio/wave. Is that the right format? I'm not quite sure. And I'm going to do read file, output file. And then I'm going to unlink. And I'm going to do @unlink because I don't want any errors in case something goes wrong. Now, it is not really recommended to use anywhere, but is there a reason, like, why would you do like if file exists? I just feel like it's useless. Of course, now I don't know if something goes wrong. I guess that's the point, because I still should check if there is no file, then we should give an error. So I guess I answer myself. That's why you shouldn't do @unlink. So let's unlink output file. And in fact, I will not use here then, because I will add a test. So let's do, first of all here, we are going to say that this is input file. And in fact, what does file get contents do? It is going to return int or false. Okay, so let's do write is that. And if write is false, then we are again going to do header, content type, application/JSON, and I'm going to die with an error. Status error. Response unable to write to input file. So I guess we should have the file then after this. So we don't have to check anymore if the file exists, do we? And then after we execute this thing, we can delete the input file, and then we could check if not file exists, output file, then we are again going to have some sort of error. Perhaps I should extract this error handling into its own function, because I'm copying it now every time. And I am going to say that unable to create output file. And if all those checks pass, then we are going to just return with the audio. Audio/wave. Is that correct? I'm not quite sure. Actually, I think I can do something like, since in speech I have some audio, can I do file test.wave? It doesn't tell me anything, so I'll just do PHP A and I'll say echo mime, how does it work? Content mime type. Is it this way? And I'll pass in the test.wave. Mime content type, sorry. Mime content type. Audio/MPEG. Okay. So is it actually an MP3 file? Perhaps. So let's do that. Audio/MPEG. So maybe it's not a wave. Maybe it's a MP3 file. Whatever. And then we're going to delete the output file after we read it. So read file will actually just blurt it out everything into the response. So then this endpoint will work as an audio file. So I will change this to get at first so that I can easily test it here. So if I do text to audio.php and text, let's do no text first. I should get an error. Array. Why did it say array? Die JSON encode. What's going on? Array. What? Echo. Hello. Where am I dying? Where is array? Die. Did I use? Okay. So we get here. Of course, this should be, if it's not set. So we actually got here, and I forgot here to add JSON encode. So it just returns array. So let's do that. And down here as well. So now if we refresh, it says no text provided. But if I say text is hello there, mister, and I do this, then it says unable to create output file. And what is the reason for that? Let's take also the output and let's pass it in our error message. Not sure if that's a good thing to pass in a public API. What is the output of this? But let's do it for now. Let's say output is output. And this is actually an array of all the lines. So I'm going to implode it with a new line. Well, actually, it is JSON. So I guess we could just have it as an array. Output is nothing. Why is it nothing? Let's also get the status. So result code, and let's add that in here too. Did we get some error? Result code is going to be result code. And in fact, let's see the log here. Well, yeah, okay. So we do not have the API key. So I am going to have to stop this, and I'm going to export. Where it is? I think I exported in another session, so I have to say export OpenAI. Sorry, not OpenAI. ElevenLabs API key, and I'm going to get it here. Echo ElevenLabs API key. Now I should add this into my settings. So let's do that, and let's start the server again, and let's go back and refresh. And look at this. We have...
Hello there, mister.
Hello there, mister. We have an audio file.
Hello there, mister.
Great. So now we can convert text into audio with this API. So then we should just, we could literally, if we just use the get method, we could literally just add an audio tag on the page that points to this URL. And then it will say whatever we want. So let's in fact do that right now. So if I go to my script.js, and somewhere I have stopped or stop. So here we have on the event source where the ChatGPT response is coming from. When we get the stop signal, that means the response has finished, and we create a title for it. So let's do here also the playing of the audio. So once the whole response has finished, then we are going to play the audio. So let's do this. Response has the whole response. So we can do something like play audio and response. And let's create that function. I will just do it here. So I will say function play audio. Now, I'm not sure if there's some sort of, I'm pretty sure there is like some JavaScript API for playing audio. But what I will just do now, because this is how I know to do it, I will just create an audio element on the page and then just play it. Or perhaps I could ask ChatWTF how to do this. So I'll say, how do I play an audio file from a URL in JavaScript in the browser? So hopefully it will give me just a simple, okay, new audio. That's easy. Okay. So we are going to do it this way. That's pretty cool. So let's do that. And I don't need all of these comments. These don't mean anything. And we are just going to add here base URI plus text to audio.php question mark text equals encode URI component. Of course, there's going to be a limit here, so I guess I could post, but then how can I post to the audio API? So that's a problem. But I guess we can split the text into parts later. So let's do that. So I'll just encode URI component, and I will pass in the text. And I'm going to pass in here the text. And should this be play audio? This should be like play text to speech. And this is the text. And this should do it. So base URI is like, it comes with the settings. If you have this like inside of a directory, then you can change it. But by default, this is going to be empty. So it should just go to text to audio. So let's see. I'm not sure if I should add a slash here or not. Where do I use this base URI? No slash. So let's do that, and it should work now. So let's see what happens if I refresh this and I create a new chat. And for some reason, we didn't create a title for this. Not sure why. But let me just say hello and see what happened? We got
Hello, how can I assist you today?
Okay, we got an answer. So now it's actually speaking to us. So if I say, tell me a joke.
Sure, here's a joke for you. Why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything.
Okay, so now it's actually working. It takes a few seconds for it to actually speak it after it's done. Of course, because it has to send that thing to ElevenLabs, but it actually works now. So let's see what happens with a longer answer maybe. So if I say something like, can you tell me some suggestions on how to beat procrastination? And let's see what will happen. So now we are creating this. Okay, it's actually a list. So this is another thing that we probably have to figure out how to do. Well, let's see how it works. Does the ElevenLabs API actually know how to read lists? So we might want to add like a system message that would tell ChatGPT, make your response in a way that is easy to speak. But now, as I'm talking here, it is like generating speech, hopefully. So at some point it should start speaking. And this is not really very nice because we are really waiting for a long time here. But hopefully it starts speaking.
Here are some suggestions to help you overcome procrastination. 1. Break tasks into smaller, manageable chunks. Breaking down larger tasks into smaller, more achievable ones can make them feel less overwhelming and easier to get started on. 2. Set clear goals and deadlines. Clearly define your goals and set realistic deadlines for yourself. Having a clear target to work towards can help you stay focused and motivated. 4.
Okay, now we don't have a way to stop the audio at the moment, so this is gonna speak the whole thing now in the background. But it works, and this is pretty cool. So now what we should do is we should somehow split this into parts. Now, there is in fact a streaming version of the API of ElevenLabs. So we might be able to kind of like pass in the chunks directly as they come from the API of OpenAI into the ElevenLabs API. But before, when I tried that, it didn't really sound good for some reason. Maybe there was too much lag in the network connection or something. But we could just do something like, for example, here we could like split it at the paragraph, for example. And then if there's a really long paragraph, then we could split that even further. Now, has it finished already? No.
Good luck.
Good luck. Okay. Now it finished it. So let's try and do that. Let's try to split the audio. Now, is there something like audio.onEnd or something? Onended. There is an onended. So we could actually return a promise from this. So we just say return new promise, and there's a function with a resolve and reject, which we don't need. We only need the resolve right now. And then we can do this. We can say onEnded. Does it work like this, or do I do like, do I say onEnded is a function? Not quite sure. And we don't need this. We can do an arrow function. And we can just resolve. So then we can actually like stack these together, or we can put them back to back. So we can do something like this. We can say that let paragraphs equal response.split at 2 new lines. Well, I guess it could be just 1 new line too. We should probably do like a regex. How does it work in JavaScript? /n plus. And yeah, that's it. We split at 1 or more new lines. And then we are going to do this. I'm going to move this in the end. And this should be an async function so that I can say for paragraph in paragraphs, we are going to play text to speech, and we are going to const. I guess this should be const as well. We are going to await play text to speech, and await has no effect on the type of this expression. What does that mean? Does this need to be async? Yes. Okay. So this is an async function, and this is an async function. So then we can wait for all the texts, all the audios to be finished, and then it will play the next one. So let's see if that works. So let's try again. And let's refresh this page and let's say, write a poem about PHP. And there should be new lines. Well, actually, there's lots of new lines now in this. Let's actually open. Oh, but it still does it in the end. So I should split it while it's creating it. Okay, so that's not really going to work. But it's finished now, so it should play now, but it's not playing.
In the realm of coding, a language so grand, PHP emerges, taking developers by hand. With syntax simple yet commands so vast, let me weave a poem about PHP that will last. In the realm of servers where websites reside, PHP dances gracefully, takes them for a ride. Dynamic pages it creates with great might. Blending in the realm of coding, a language so grand, PHP emerges, taking developers by hand, take structure for a ride. Dynamic pages creates great values. We very simple yet commands so vast. Strings and a poem about PHP.
I passed in the wrong thing to the function. So let me refresh this page, and hopefully I didn't spend like $1 million on doing that on the API, but I should not pass in the response into this. I should pass in the paragraph into this. So now for every paragraph, or actually every new line, so I should add 2 new lines here. Let's do this. So for every new line, for every line of the poem, I send the whole poem to ElevenLabs. So it started to play all those. But in fact, I think our promise didn't work because it should await this and then on ended it should resolve. But the text should be the whole text, so it shouldn't play them at the same time. So maybe it doesn't work like this. Let's ask ChatWTF again. How do I detect when the audio has ended? To detect when the audio has ended, you can add the event listener ended. Okay. I forgot I still have it on, so it's speaking now. What is it saying? It started to speak something. But let's try to do it this way. We have to do it before play. So let's do that, and then we will resolve it here. And I believe this has to be an arrow function, so that we can actually call resolve. Or, well, maybe no. But I'll still use an arrow function here. And let's try this again. So let's go here and refresh and a new chat, and let's also open DevTools. It's here in the network tab, so we can see actually how many messages we are sending and what we are sending. So let's do write a poem about a cat, and let's open this one. We are sending something to message, and once we finish, we send all of them at the same time again.
0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Apparently, I do not know how to use for loops in JavaScript, because this will just have the index of the paragraph. So we have to say for off. And let's do for now console log paragraph. And let's see what happens. I'll remove this one. For some reason, my await doesn't work. I'm not really familiar with the await syntax, so perhaps I'm doing something wrong. So let me remove everything from here, and let's say, write a poem about a cat. And here we have the poem. And if we go here, we first get the message, and then we are going to get create title. And actually, we don't send anything. We just get this. Okay, so we actually did get all the paragraphs there separately. That's good. But why doesn't my await work? Return new promise. And I don't return it. Return. There's the problem. So I'm not returning the promise, so it will just play it. So now when I return the promise, then it should work. So let's go back here and let's try again. Write a poem about a cat. And let's go here and let's remove all of these, and let's see if we actually send them now one by one. So first we should say in a world. Yes, we send something.
In a world where whispers float and prance, there dwells a feline soul's enchanting dance. With grace unmatched, like moonlight on the shore, there resides a creature we all adore.
And then we send another one.
A living masterpiece, an artful sight, a symphony of shadows in the night. With eyes that gleam like emerald skies, a cat roams, twirling tails that mesmerize.
Okay, so now if I refresh, it will stop it. So it takes a while for it to generate the audio. So what actually we should do is we should create all of the audio, but then play it with this promise method. So let's do this. Let's do async function, create text to speech, and we give it the text. And what will this do? This will create the audio and set the URI. And is there like a ready? Let's open real ChatGPT now because it's going to speak it out. So I'm going to say, how do I know when the audio in JavaScript has loaded? I guess onload. Can play through. Okay, so let's do that. And actually we can pass it in to the audio directly, the SRC. I'm not sure if we have to do that. I guess we can do then this. Can play through, then we resolve this. And how do we return the audio from this? Can I pass it in here, the audio? And how do I then use that? Let's ask ChatGPT. How do I use, or how do I pass something from a promise as a response? Maybe it understands what I mean. Resolve, reject. Resolve with the data. And then we can do response is the response. Okay, that's great. So I can create the text-to-speech. I can create all of them. In fact, I can create one, and once it can play, we can then play it and start generating the next one. And then, wait, how does it work? Let's see. So here we have to create text-to-speech. So can I do this? Can I say, let audio equal this? So is this going to be the audio? I believe it's going to be the audio. And then we can do audio dot play. But we can't do this because it will still play them on top of each other. So we have to do this. We have to say const audio list is a list. Can I have a list as const? I never understood this const thing in JavaScript because, of course, I want to append things to the array. So how can it be a const? Maybe it can be a const. Let's see if it can be a const. So we are going to then say audio list push audio. We will add it to the list. And then when we have added all the audios to the list, then we are going to do for const audio of audio list. We are going to then await play audio.play. But we cannot do this. We have to now create the play audio function. Play audio. And then we can say this play audio with the audio file. It's just called audio. And we are going to just do this. When it has ended, we are going to resolve this and we are going to play this audio. So this is going to do the same thing as audio.play, but it will wait until it has played. So that should work. We create all of the text, but wait a minute. It's still not really what I want. Can I push the promises into this list and then loop through the list and wait for each of them? So this should run instantly. It should create the promises. And then in the audio list, we will have the audio promises. Let's call this audio promise. It's actually called audio promise list. So then what do? We have to await this promise. How do we await a promise? So if I have a promise in a variable, how do I await it to finish or resolve? This doesn't do what I want. If you have a promise stored in a variable and you want to await its resolution, you can use the await keyword within the async function. So where is it stored in a variable? Await. So fetch data returns a promise. And where do I use fetch data? Await fetch data. But what if I do let test equal fetch data without await? Can I then await it later? If you assign the result of fetch data to a variable using await, you will not be able to directly await it later. Okay. Okay. So I can do await test and do this. So this will work. Okay, exactly what I want. So I can just say that the const audio is audio await audio promise. Can I just do this? Of course. So then I can play that audio and I can await the playing of that audio. So now it should work. Let's try this one more time. This is becoming a very educational video, especially for me, because I don't really work with promises that much. But let's try this out. Let's say, write a poem about a dog. And let's go here and let's delete everything and let's see what will happen. Okay, we send all of these messages now.
In a world of wagging wonder, where loyalty's heart beats yonder, there lived a creature, oh so grand, a dog forever by my hand. With fur as soft as twilight's glow, a soul that danced like sunflowers grow, eyes that sparked with pure delight, a spirit brave, yet gentle and light. With every bark a symphony played, his love for life never once betrayed. Through fields we'd roam side by side, his paw prints etched in life's sweet tide. He'd chase the breeze with wild abandon, leaping through fields like a feathered fan. And in his joy, my worries would cease, as he taught me the beauty of inner peace. Through life's storms, when clouds would...
Okay, it is actually working. So it generated all of those audio files, and then once the first one had finished, it just played it, and then it played the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So now it works. But we still have to wait for the whole poem to finish. So instead of doing it at the stop signal, let's do it before that. So here we have send message, and we are going to add an event listener on the message, which will add to the response the content, which is the part, the token, or it's a bunch of tokens in that message. So after we get this, we should then check if there is a new paragraph in that response. We should play it. So should we extract something out? Well, that's the thing. So how do we, if we add only one promise to the promise list there, then where do we go through all the things? There's probably some name for this kind of thing. If you went to school for this, then you would know. Yes, this is the algorithm called the audio stack syntax. But I have not gone to school about this, so I do not know what this is. So first of all, let's do this. Let's do here let paragraphs equal a list. Let's do let paragraph ID equal to 0. And then let's do if, can I do this in JavaScript? Can I do if two new lines in response? I think I saw this, somebody did this in some code. In Python you can do this, and this is very great syntax. I mean, I guess I can use index of. I guess I could try this. So if I go the console and I say, hello in, this is a hello test. It does not work. So I'm not going to do that. Or does it have to be like, let test equal, this is a hello test, and then I can do hello in test. No, I cannot do that. So I'm going to use index of. If response, in fact, if JSON content index of new line. But that's, again, that's not the, I mean, I guess there will be two new lines in there. Let's see if it works. So if there is a paragraph break in the new content that comes in, then we are going to say paragraph ID ++. And then we are going to say paragraphs index paragraph ID plus equals the JSON.content. And we have to also initialize it. So here it's going to be an empty string. So then we are going to add every paragraph into this array. And the thing is, where do we then loop through this paragraphs array? Because this would like send some signal to something that, hey, we got a new paragraph, add it to the queue and process it at some point. I'm not quite sure how to do this. I guess this is called something like an event queue or something. Wrong ChatGPT again. Let's create a new chat. How do I create a queue of promises in JavaScript so that I can add promises to the queue and they will be performed sequentially? Something like this. Now, I could just ask to create the whole thing from ChatGPT, but I don't want to do that because I want to actually learn something here. Okay, promise queue. You can create a queue of promises in JavaScript to ensure that promises are executed sequentially by chaining them together. One way to do this is by using a recursive function that processes promises one after the other. Okay, so this is a function. We have a queue and we have an add. Why is this not like a class? What is this? Add to queue, promise function, queue push, return promise function, which is this, then queue shift, remove the process promise from the queue when it has been processed. If queue length is 1, then we do this. If the queue was empty, start processing promise. Return promise resolve. Example usage, my queue, promise queue, delay. Okay, this is just a sample promise. Okay, we will add this, return delay, then we will do it, but I cannot do then. Damn it. I don't really know how to do this. Okay, so if we have the paragraphs list here, then that is the same as this over here. So we don't have to do this. And let's move the audio promise list up here as well. And let's add some comment here. Initialize audio handling. And then this one will read all the paragraphs and it will add them to the list of promises. So what we have to do is we actually don't do this loop anymore because we are creating them automatically here. So we should do it here. So when we get a new paragraph, we send the existing paragraph, which will be this, into the audio promise list. And then we should do this. But if we just do this over here, then first of all, there is only going to be one thing in there because we are going to do it right away. So should we do exactly something like this? So ChatGPT created like a class here, right? Isn't this a class? It's not really a class, but it's a class. Because add to queue is like a method of promise queue. I'm not sure why I did it that way. So we have my queue, add, wait a minute, what is add to queue? Where is add to queue? Add to queue. Return. Why does it do it this way? This is stupid. So what if I create a class? Let's create a class. Class audio queue. And audio queue will have a function. How do classes work in JavaScript? I don't remember. Is there like a function? Or do I just do the function name here? So let's do add and audio promise. And this will have audio promises equal to a list. Do I have to say something like const or something? No, I just do this. And this is going to do this dot audio promises push audio promise. So then I can do here, instead of audio promise list, I will say const audio queue is new audio queue. And then I am going to add to it. I will say audio queue add. So add the promise of the audio. And then I will do something like audio queue dot handle. And I'll create that function. And what the handle function does, let's do handle, and it will just loop through all of the promises. So it will do the thing that I deleted already. Do I have it copied? Yes. So it will do for const audio promise of this dot audio promises await audio promise. So can I have an async function in a class? Apparently I can. So this will loop through all of the audio promises and it will wait for them and it will play them. And I should delete the promises after they have been resolved. So I should say audio this dot audio promises index what? How do I remove it? If I say in, then it gets the index, right? Then I can say this is just the index, audio promises index, and I can do this, and I can remove. Can I use the shift? What is the shift thing here? It was in another conversation. Shift, q dot shift. Okay, so shift remove it. So can I just do that? So if I do audio promise and then I do this audio promises dot shift, removes the first element from an array and returns it. Okay, and this should be back to off. So we read the first one and we remove the first one. But now the thing is that we are going to handle it multiple times because it might be playing the audio while it's handling the queue, and then it will add another one there, and then it will handle it again. So can we like add some kind of state here, handling? So if I say handling is false, and then here I say this dot handling is true, and then if this handling, then we just return false. And then we said this handling is true, and then we should wait for all this. And in fact, it is awaiting this, so we can just say down here, this dot handling is false. So now if we call handle multiple times, it will do nothing because it's already handling them. But that's not really what we want to do because I'm not sure if this will detect when we add a new element to the list. So if it is handling, we should wait until it has finished handling and then we should handle. So that's probably a better way of doing this. So I don't think this is going to work. I am going to ask ChatGPT now directly. I am receiving audio files, let's say, from an event stream, and I want to play all of the audio files back to back as they are streamed. How can I do this in JavaScript? Let's just do that. Let's see what it says. Web audio. Wow. Create media elements. Okay. Web audio API. What? To play audio files received from event stream back to back in JavaScript, you can use the Web Audio API and manage the audio playback in a sequential manner. Okay, we have an audio player and we initialize it. We get the audio player. Audio context is new window audio context or WebKit audio context. And source is create media element source. Source connect, audio connect destination, audio queue, play next audio, handle audio stream, handle audio stream, audio URL, audio queue push, audio URL. If queue length is 1, play next audio. So handle audio stream. We pass the URL into this one and we push it into the queue. And if the length is 1, then we play the next one. I don't understand this. How does this work? Audio queue. Play next audio. If it's greater than 0, we get the first one. Okay, I think I get it. So I don't need a for loop. I only need shift. So the audio will be this. Await this audio promises shift. And we don't do this. And do we have to even do this? If we just handle it like this, we handle by shifting 1 from there and then playing it. But if we call handle again, yeah, that's right. We can say here, if this dot audio promises dot length is greater than 0, then we are going to handle again. Await this dot handle, right? So we take one thing from the audio promises and we play it. If there's something left, we play it again, or we handle again. And we keep doing this until there's nothing left. But then how do we detect that we don't handle it twice? So here it is setting if it's 1, if audio queue length is 1, if it's the first audio, we add it, and if it's 1, we play it. So here we can do it directly in the add. If this dot audio promises length is 1, so if it's the one that we just pushed in there, then we are going to do this dot handle. If it is 2, that means there is something in there already, which means that they are being handled already. So now it will work, hopefully. So we have the audio queue, we have the paragraphs. And in fact, we don't have to save the paragraphs now. We can just say paragraph is empty. And then if there's a new line, then we are going to create the text from the paragraph if it's not empty. If paragraph is not empty, then we are going to create it, and this adding will handle it automatically. We don't have to do this, we just do that. Paragraph is empty. And then in the end, we are going to do the same thing. So when we receive the stop signal, we are going to do this. If we still have a paragraph left, then we create the audio. And I guess we can do trim so that it will not send just a new line. So maybe that works. I guess we could just pass the paragraph here, and we could do this inside the add. So we don't have to do it here. We just do it here. So we just pass in the text, and we convert the text into audio. This audio promise. So let's see if this monstrosity will actually work. So let me run through it one more time. We have the audio queue, which is an audio queue class object. And then we have an empty paragraph. If we have 2 new lines in the content, I have to also add to the paragraphs. And if in the paragraph we have 2 new lines and it is not empty, well, it cannot be empty if there's paragraph. I will put trim. If the trimmed paragraph is not empty, then we add the paragraph to the queue, and then we set it to 0. So set it to back to empty string. And down here we're going to do the same thing. So if we still have a paragraph left, we're going to add it to the queue, and it will then handle it. So let's see now what will happen. Let's just start with a simple hello and see if it actually does anything. Hello, how can I assist you today? Can we hear anything? I cannot hear anything. Did we get any errors? We got text to audio U. Okay. Or is this from the old one? So nothing happened. Let's log here. Console log added, and let's add here the text. And let's also log handling. Started handling. And then let's do just handling here. Handling. So let's see what this will do. If I open this and I remove everything from here and I say hello and I go back here, added hello, and okay, started handling, but we never actually handled. So first of all, there is a problem, which is that my index of is not working properly. I have to say if index of is not -1, then it's in there. And we added and we started handling, and this in fact should not be here because it will be 0 after we shift an element from there. Oh, sorry. So this is if there's still something left after we play it, then okay. But we didn't play it, so okay. So this should be handling again, and this should be handling, and these should have console log playing, and here should be ended. And let's try again. Refresh, clear everything, and hello. And what do we get? Text to audio. We did something. Hello, how may I assist you today? So we sent it, and it ended. And I did not have my audio on, so I didn't actually hear anything. So let's try this again. Hello. And we sent it, and...
Hello, how can I assist you today?
Okay, so it works. So let's then write a poem. Write a poem about a cat. And then it will start to write it. So now it should have sent something already, and it should start speaking before it finishes, but it doesn't.
In shadows silent, sleek and sly, a feline fourth courtesy eye is a crowd is twitching. I mellow, and on was rapidly 30 saw of Alec reflecting his glares from day creature born to a memory as a damning is within their gleam, as if whisked away by a moonlit dream.
Okay, so it spoke everything at the same time. So my queuing system did not work. Why is that? Did I forget a weight from somewhere?
Soothing, a melody sweet caresses the air, a soft fur that shimmers up to lights. Tender trance the hat time briefly turn over. Your presence and
Stop! Stop it. Okay, something is not working properly. So we add the paragraph into queue. And let's see our log. Did I already remove my log? Of course. Perhaps I don't have the persistence. Should persist. Where is the persist? I can't see the setting for preserve log. Okay, great. So we add it to queue, which is here, and we create the promise, and we push the promise into the promises. If the length is 1, we are going to handle it, and handle will what is await this promises shift. It should be this audio promises shift, just that, and then await play audio. And in fact, I have to have the status if it's handling, because at this point we have shifted away the last element from there. So this is going to be 1. The new length will be 1 then when we add another one. But we shouldn't then start playing again. So we have to say this dot handling is true. And if this dot handling, then return false. And then in the end, when we have handled the whole thing, we will say this dot handling is false. Because we are using this shift method, then it will always get the next element from there, I believe, because we are not using a for loop. So we have to say handling is false. So now it should work. I will just add a console log not handling again. And here I will add console log finished handling, and let's see if we can actually make this work now. So refresh this thing, and I will say hello, and let's see what happens here. Audio add event listener is not a function. What? Did we pass in this audio promises shift? So this is the promised play audio. Okay, so this is only promise, but this one returns, okay, the audio. So yes, I should have the await here. So we await the promise. Yes, await, shift, okay. We await the promise so that we get the actual audio, then we play the audio. And this was the only problem, I guess, because we didn't have the handling is true. So now, if we try this the millionth time, then hopefully it will work. And I'm going to clear everything, and I'll say hello, and added hello, handling, and we should hear
Hello,
something.
how can I assist you today?
And ended, finished handling. Great. Write a poem about a cat. And now, handling, not handling again, not handling again, added, and...
In a world of mischief and grace,
Great.
a furry friend we embrace, with eyes that gleam in depth so vast, a creature enchanting, unsurpassed.
What do we all get the next one? Not handling again. Ended. Finished handling. So what does that mean? Do I have audio queue? I don't have it here because it is not a global variable. So why doesn't it work? So we added this and we started handling it. We added this and we didn't handle again. We added this and we added again. So we started handling again. Wait a minute, we didn't say not handling again. Why not? Because the length was more than 1. So we only added it into the queue. But then why did we play only the first one? Playing ended. Handling again. Not handling again. What? Oh, I have to set it. I have to set it here before I handle again. Because now it's still false. Can I just set it here? I guess technically. But is there going to be some kind of race condition then? Let's add it there too. Let's add it in both places. And let's try. So refresh and clear everything and write a poem about a dog. And we added and we are handling. We are not handling again. We added another one and another one and another one and another one and another one. And actually, there's a problem because
in a world of wagging tails and playful bounds, there lives a loyal friend that knows no bounds. With eyes so wide, filled with love and glee, a dog, a true companion, forever free. From the moment they enter our humble abode, their presence fills our hearts and lightens our load. With paws that dance upon the dew-kissed grass, they bring joy to every moment as time swiftly pass. Their fur like velvet beneath my gentle touch, a creature so divine I love them oh so much. Their nose wet and cold, always sniffing around, uncovering mysteries in every scent they've found. With every bark that echoes through the air, they guard us fiercely with an unwavering care. A protector standing tall in times of distress, a faithful guide through darkness we often confess.
Okay.
Through trials and trials.
So now it's working, but there's a problem because I am using the PHP Built-in Server and that can only handle one connection at once. That's why it is waiting through the whole thing because the event stream will start a connection to the server and then you can't create another connection to create the actual audio. So I would have to move this into like Apache or something. So what I will actually do is I will create a Docker file for this project so that I can then run it with Docker with an actual server. But I will do that in another video. But I will now skip after I have done that and I will show you how this works. Alright, I have now created a Docker file for this project and I can run it and it works pretty well, but there's an annoying bug that I can't quite fix. So let me first show you how this works. So I can now run my Docker image and then if I go to the browser and I refresh, then here I am now in the Docker container. And if I say something like, write a poem about elephants, and I do this, then it starts to write it, and before it has finished, you will hear it starting to speak.
In savannah's back, where sunbeams entwine, a majestic creature roams, known as divine. In gathering water or gathering leaves, the elephant crafts beauty that warm hearts believe.
Now, sometimes it stops for a while,
and
then continues.
Oh, gentle giants roaming free and wild, protectors of nature since time beguiled, may harmony surround your every stride, and may your legacy forever reside.
So it in fact read the whole thing properly, but when I go to the network tab, I get some of these twice, like I don't understand. Before the create title request here, we have finished already. So the last one is when dusk is upon and so on. So that is, in fact, it is this one. Sorry. So after create title, we create the last paragraph, which is this. Oh, gentle giants and forever reside, which is the last one. So it shouldn't create anything else after that. But for some reason, it creates this when dusk is upon them, which is the one previous that. And sometimes it's another one, and sometimes it just keeps repeating. I'm not sure what is going on. But I think here might be the problem. Because I am returning a promise from this, and I'm pushing the promise into the list, and then I am awaiting the promise. I think that causes some problems. But I realized I don't actually have to do that. Because when I call add, I don't await that one. So actually I can already play the audio inside that function. So I could in fact directly await this create text to speech. So if I do this await, then this will actually be the audio, and audio promises is going to be just called audio queue, or it can be just called queue. And then the audio, which I guess can be const, will be pushed into the queue. So we will actually create the audio and we will wait for it to load. And then that loaded audio will be pushed into the queue. And if we only have one in the queue, then we're going to handle it. And the handle checks, if we're already handling, then we don't handle anymore. And then we set the handling to true. And then we don't await anymore, because in the queue we already have the audio, which then I believe we don't have to do this anymore. Or we do? Okay, yes, we do. We still do this because we're passing the audio to this. But we have awaited this audio already. So then we await the playing of it. And if after playing it, we still have something in the queue, then we set the handling to false and then we handle again. So maybe that will help it. I'm not quite sure, because I log every time here added, but then when it creates that extra request, it doesn't print added. So I don't know what happens. I think it's because of this await. Something weird is going on there. So let's now try this one more time. So I'm going to have to build my Docker container, and I am then going to run my Docker container, and I am going to clear everything from here, and let's write a poem about a programmer. And let's see what is going to happen this time. So it should start speaking.
In realms of code where data dwells, a programmer's journey often compels. Through lines of text, they weave their art, crafting software with a brilliant heart. With logic sharp and mind, they navigate through codes absolute. Syntax, algorithms they understand to bring to life their wondrous command.
We wait for a while.
In binary
Or
realms,
something.
they find their pace, weaving magic in every trait. Their
Okay, and again, we are doing the same thing again. I'm not quite sure what happens here. That's so weird. I do not know why that happens. That made it even worse. So, do I have to use that thing that ChatGPT told me to do? So, it wanted me to do this thing and then have the audio queue. So, in fact, it is using the same audio element, I think. So, audio player is an audio player like this. An audio context is something. That is weird. Let's see if we have to actually do this. So let's add this stuff here. So we have audio player will be document get element by ID audio player, which I guess we have to then add. So we have to add this audio player somewhere. But do we have to do that? I'm not sure. Let's just put it in the index.php for now. So I'll just slap it somewhere in here. And then we get the audio context, and the source is audio context create media element source audio player. Source connect audio context destination. Whatever that means, we are doing that. And then what we do is we have play next audio, which takes one from the queue, which is just a URL. But now this is not what I want to do, because I don't want to wait for it to generate it, because this changes the URL every time, but it takes a while to create. So I can't do it like this. No, that is not possible. So I'm going to have to think about this for a while, and perhaps I will find an answer, hopefully. All right, I have now fixed the issue, and the problem was this. When I previously created the new audio, and then I set the source directly to the URL with the get method, the browser didn't really download it, or it did download it, but then it didn't save it somehow. And then after you created multiple of these instances of the audio class, it somehow forgot the previous ones, and then when it actually started to play it, it fetched the URL directly. So then it fetched it again. So that's the problem. So now I converted the endpoint such that it will actually return a name of the output file. So it will no longer return with the actual data. It will return with the file name from which it can be then fetched. And now it works. Now, I have another problem with this now, because now I'm saving the output files on the disk, so then I have to clean them up. Now I added up here just this cleanup, so I go through them and I delete all the output files that are more than 5 minutes old, which kind of works, but it's not that nice. Now, one thing I didn't try, but I could possibly just add a header for caching so that this endpoint is always cached. So maybe then it wouldn't load it again. Or it would still load it again, but it would say, okay, we have this cached already. But normally when you have some query like $text equals something, then it will fetch it again. And then we will send a request to ElevenLabs again. So that's not a very good thing. But now it just generates these output directories and then, or input and output directories. And then it will write the input to the input file. So the text we want to convert into audio, and then it converts it and writes it into the output. And then it deletes the input file, but then it just returns the base name of the output file. So then in the browser, I can read that one. Now, currently, this has not been made very securely because we do not have like a public folder here. So everything is public. So you couldn't like publish this in production in like a public website because all the output files are then accessible from a URL. So you would have to do something different. I mean, I guess you still have to have them in a public place so that the browser can fetch them, but you should have some sort of authentication. Now I could just use a session, just save some code in the file name or something, but right now this is just a demo and it works. But if you were to do this in actual production environment, then you should consider that because now all of the output files are accessible. I added an index.php here, so it disables the file listing, but it's still not super secure, especially because we are using unique ID somewhere. So here we set the ID to unique ID, which is time-based, so you could easily guess what is the next unique ID or what unique IDs have been probably generated already in the past 5 minutes. So you could just read the responses of everybody. But anyway, it works now. So on the JavaScript side, then I create this form data object with the text, and then I send that to the text to audio endpoint, and I get the JSON response, and then I check if the status is okay, and then I again create the audio, but I add it to the speech/output and then the file name that comes out of the response. And then I play it. And everything else is the same. So now it works. So if I go here and let me make sure that it is actually running. So I will run the Docker container and I will refresh. And if I just say hello, then it will say,
Hello, how can I assist you?
I hope you heard that because I didn't have my volume up. But now if I clear everything from my network tab and I actually open this here and let's make it always on top. So if I now say write a poem about cats, then it will start writing it and it will create one audio and the other audio and another audio.
In the shadows,
and then
graceful and sleek, with eyes that gleam and movements so chic.
You can see that it is loading these wave files now. And then, now it has created all the audio already. But if you keep looking, it will create another request soon.
Conquer the night with a stealthy eyes like emeralds, piercing and bright, glowing in darkness, illuminating the night, independent yet loving.
Here, so you can see, it actually loaded something that I believe it has loaded already. Yes, it loaded here already, but now it loaded it again.
Oh, cats of wonder.
And this again. So it had just to do with some kind of caching in the browser or something, but now it works. And this is going to be the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments what should I add next to this ChatWTF chatbot. And make sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to see me create that Docker container for this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.